Greetings, everyone. I'm What Hamster.
And I am M4.
Yeah, so today I'm upgrading my equipment a little bit.
It looks very spongy.
Indeed, it is extremely spongy. Almost like it's made of Ludrith parts, and I look like an Eskimo.
Just don't try and swim in it. That would be unpleasant.
And unfortunately, it's actually really good for swimming.
That doesn't make sense.
Nope. And strangely enough, this is one of the few female armors that do cover up a lot.
Yeah, it actually looks very similar to the male version.
Exactly, it's like they didn't do much of a difference. They added
They
boobs
did
on the armor and they're done.
They should do that more often.
Yeah, I actually, oftentimes, almost every single time, I prefer the male versions of the armor. Because they will actually include
good armor. Actual armor instead of just, an outfit.
So this is why it's good. I get current resistance, so I can't get pushed around in the water. Kind of like wind press, but only with water.
Right.
Constitution, so I lose less stamina. I get divine protection, that works like feline defender high.
Yeah.
And with some decorations, I've given myself an attack boost.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, this is actually really good lance armor. So if I block, I'll lose less stamina. Pretty handy.
You even got the Ludroth lance.
Yep. This is gonna be handy. This is gonna be really handy.
I expect it will be.
Got some equipment prepared. Just a few goodies here and there.
Some soap. They don't call it soap, but that's what it is.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. And just talking to the hunting fleet now that I actually got their boat, and they're back from their fishing trip, that sort of thing. Funny thing, I actually did a grind stream thing. I did stream some of my grind, and
Right.
And I think this is like around where I actually streamed the grinding, basically for farming the Ludrith armor, amongst a few other things, of course. But
Of course.
and then once I had that done, I was like, hey, I could do some random fights just for fun. Let's do the thing here,
Oh, the arena.
Yeah. So for those who were kind of like wondering when I actually did the grind video, that's about in like this vicinity in the video time I did it.
Right.
And they seem pretty psyched to go fishing. I still just need one more boat left. And that's
Right.
a shame, man. He does not have his boat yet.
You just gotta wait here and make up songs about how sad he is to be left alone.
And even after he gets his boat, he'll continue telling the same two songs.
Yeah, he doesn't have much of a variety.
Repertoire.
Yeah, not at all.
And yeah, another thing I did in the stream was hunt for commodities. Got some
Ancient skin oil.
Yeah, if you want 2-star commodities, hunt Royal Ludrith, because Payco has a really low drop for his level 2 commodities for some reason.
Yeah, it's pretty rare.
I have no idea why they just made one have a really high drop rate and one a really low drop rate.
Yeah, the oil is not rare. The oil is really common.
Yeah, I think like you get one drop from one oil from a sponge break almost every single time, and a good chance if you capture or kill. A better
Right.
chance if you capture, of course.
It's entirely feasible to get multiple ones from a single hunt.
So with Payco, you gotta break his head to get the special beak drop.
Uh-huh.
Man, breaking that head is kind of a challenge sometimes.
It can be. He doesn't really keep it down and within your reach very often.
You gotta practice breaking the head. And, if I have the choice of going for Royal Ludrith or Payco, I'd go for Royal Ludrith.
Absolutely.
Plus, Royal Ludrith can't fly across the map and be really obnoxious.
Well, no, okay, he can't.
Exactly, he can't. So he's
Absolutely not.
I find him a lot. I find him an easier fight just because he doesn't take as long. But they're
Yeah,
about
it's
both
easy.
the same difficulty. But one is just easy to catch up to. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
And what I'm showing here is I got a 2-star commodity, and I can buy 2 1-star commodities with a 2-star.
Indeed, but you can't do this in reverse.
No.
'Cause you're only allowed to put up one thing.
I can understand why you can't do it in reverse, because then you get a lot of good items for
Which kind of
jump.
break the trading mechanic.
But it's nice to be able to say, I got a like a 7-star item. Not that there's that in this game, but then you can get like a whole bunch of lobby items.
Right.
And the lobby items are generally just stuff you use for the fishing fleet, which is handy.
Indeed.
It is a spear, or whenever, once in a million years, they can go hunting, and I don't ever bother really sending them to go hunting because it's not very good items they can get.
Yeah, not really.
Get them
Things,
by the time,
things that you can get easily well before they'll ever get to do it.
but the treasure trackers for sending them out to go fishing in the treasure areas, yeah, go for them. They're
Those are great.
They will find they'll find a lot of eggs usually. And that's pretty good.
Money.
Steel eggs are worth 1,000 cennies, and silver eggs 5,000, gold eggs 10,000. It's a lot of money, especially early on.
And there's literally nothing else they're good for, so
Yeah.
money.
Just sell them.
I guess they didn't really want to have the fleet just come back with a sack of money for you.
Yeah. And plus, it's also like a reward item they use multiple places.
Right.
Like in the egg gathering, transporting missions, they will
Burn
use
eggs.
and they will also give you them in the arena if you do well enough.
Indeed.
So, you know, it's essentially their way of saying, here's some money.
While you're trying to find a king coin.
Well, usually you'll get a coin, and then you'll get, if you're lucky, another coin, or if you're unlucky, a money item.
Right. Boy, those king coins, though. What is it?
But the king coins can only be gotten in multiplayer, though, fortunately.
Of course.
Which is kind of dumb, considering low-rank equipment. There's low-rank equipment that actually requires these king coins that you can only get in multiplayer. and you'll
How
just
terrible.
and more than likely you just do these arenas solo anyways.
Oh, hey, you got Freddy Cat.
Yeah. Increases the likelihood of large monsters being weak.
Not weak. I don't like how they worded that. It makes them smaller. They tend to be smaller, which does indeed lower their stats a bit. But I mean,
It
weak isn't
means
really
the
a way to put
hitboxes
it.
aren't as big, and they're not going to run across the map as fast and as far.
Right. Hey, you learned a new dance as well.
Yeah, that was one of the books I bought on the Argosy Trader. The Waka Waka dance, which is a green tone. Green tone is amazing. Basically,
So I can tell.
basically my bread and butter is green and yellow. Red and green, not as handy. You can do a Sonic Bomb, a Taunt, a Flash, and a small
Sonic
heal.
Bomb. Cha-Cha doing a Sonic Bomb will never be helpful.
Or a Flash Bomb, because the monster will have either mauled Cha-Cha by the time before he gets the song off, or the dance off, if you will, because I'm used to hunting Horn.
Or already done being vulnerable.
Well, I was going to say, or just be across the map and not looking at it.
That too. Yeah, the timing on things like Flash Bombs and Sonic Bombs is kind of picky, and Cha-Cha doesn't hurry up with his
No,
dances.
it's not like he just instantly does it. He does his dance, 10 seconds pass, and he's done. Maybe not 10 seconds, but it feels like 10 seconds.
Takes way too long for it to be useful.
So
However, the green and yellow,
green
lots
and
of
yellow's
healing.
amazing.
He can do an antidote, and he still has an attack buff.
Yeah. Basically, it's the go-to one. It is amazing. I don't see any reason never to stop using it. I'll use the red and green dances just to show them off for a while, but I'm gonna quickly go back to the healing, especially
Because
when
it's
I get
better.
the right masks where he focuses on buffs
Right.
and pretty much nothing but. But we start out getting our delicious free items. I love free items.
Who doesn't love free items? free is the best cost.
Oh yeah, definitely. And for those wondering about this lance, it's a water lance. It does water damage. One of the first elemental weapons you can get, for the most part, is water damage.
Yeah, which is kind of situational.
I like how the hammer gets fire early, but they don't get water until multiplayer.
Yeah, the splash hammer, that
Yeah.
takes 8.
Yeah, they don't get... I find it funny that they just don't get any water damage until they go into multiplayer and get into high rank. Then you get your first water hammer then. Well, thanks game. But, to be honest, they don't really need the water damage.
Almost every weapon type has something that they lose out on for until later.
Yeah.
Pretty much how they have it set up.
But a lot of weapons, not looking at switch axes, not looking at long swords, they get their elemental types, they will get like a full complement of elemental status.
Right.
But it's just like a couple of them just has a couple things missing.
You can't do poison with hammer, ever.
No, and you can't do poison until high rank with lances.
Not that poison is a really great weapon to have, but still.
So this guy's Barroth.
He sure is.
And as I mentioned,
he's fairly infamous.
This guy is, as I mentioned, is pretty much the new monster type to the series.
Indeed, a brute wyvern.
And here's the reason why this guy is. This guy, if this is your first time playing a Monster Hunter game, this guy is going to be your wall.
Yeah.
It's going to be the wall you hit. And the reason why, because first time I played this game, this guy mauled and killed me and made me lose several times. And then I looked at my equipment, I was like, yeah, maybe I should just stop using this leather equipment, and also I should get better than a sword and shield iron plus.
Yeah.
And also I should start using items.
Yeah, he kind of acts as the wake-up call. You can't be a lazy hunter anymore.
So, remember that one of the subquests were destroying ants' nests? Yeah, I could do that with bombs. Normally, if you don't bring bombs, you have to have Barroth charge into them and break the structures. But, yeah, bombs. Also, Cha-Cha will place bombs next to yours, too, which is kind of cool.
And then he blows up, which is very satisfying.
Well, that was more me placing a small barrel bomb, but I do like that Cha-Cha will place bombs next to yours if you place a large barrel bomb. Not always does it, but sometimes. And if a monster's asleep, well, yeah, I can't say no to extra damage.
Of course.
But,
more explosions, the better.
So I run into this zone, get his attention, leave, and then blow up some anthills with subquest. And then, yeah, I come back. Kind of rude.
No kidding.
No.
You give him just enough time to make him think you've left, and then you come back and wake him up again.
Also, I got his name with his shock trap here, so yeah. And guess what? I'm gonna go for a tail cut. So the breakable parts on him is the tail, his head, and his hands. Every part there's a piece of mud on.
Yep.
Though, as you can see, it'll just be breaking the mud off of these parts. There's a lot of things you can do brakes on. Every time you break off mud, there's a chance you'll get a shiny. In my case, I actually managed to get a shiny, so huzzah! But that's...
And then he immediately got the mud back.
Yeah, he'll roll around in the mud and get mud covering his body. Now, the reason why he covers his mud with body is to keep his body cool in the desert temperature.
Oh, he covers his mud with his body, does he?
Yes, he covers his body with his mud. That's what I meant to say, and you know it.
That doesn't mean I'm not going to make fun of you for it.
No, you're certainly free to make fun of me for it.
Anyway, you should probably comment on his weakness.
Yes, that's what I was getting to.
He has a very interesting weakness.
So, when he's got mud on, he's weak to water. But when the mud is off, he's weak to fire, which is what I was getting at with the whole him trying to stay cool in the desert's heat by keeping mud on.
Right. Indeed, I think he's the only monster with actual changing resistances.
No, that's not true. That's not true, but we'll get into that later.
Fair enough. I can't think of what you're talking about, but I will believe you.
I'll say as much as it's the final boss of that guy.
Oh, fine. Okay, never mind. That's an option.
Yeah, you forgot about him.
Elder dragons don't count.
Sure Jeez. They do.
Fine. But yeah, okay.
But there's not very much.
It's not a common thing at all.
No, it's not really a very common thing to flip elemental resistances. And on this monster, it's on specific parts of his body that he flips elemental resistances.
Right.
Which is why, if you're doing multiplayer, you're doing with some friends, you can coordinate. It's good to have some people with water and some people with fire. Usually more people with fire, because the person with water, as you can see, you can quickly get the mud off.
Right, and then you're hitting with water.
Now, the break parts of the hands, I'm not sure if that does anything, but it's a good way to get Barroth claws.
Right.
And all the hand breaks do is you see the scales of the hands having chipped off or something like that. It's nothing amazing.
Right.
The tail, it doesn't do too much, but with Barroth, I'd rather not get touched by him.
Oh, you're certainly getting used to out of that divine protection.
Oh yeah, definitely. The tail whip doesn't do too much, but what the tail whip will do is, if he decides, I'm gonna back up and charge into you while you're still getting up from the ground, then yeah, he's gonna hit you, and it's gonna hurt.
Indeed. The charge is the real killer here.
Yeah. Here is the one thing that will usually kill a lot of players, and it is what I consider the Barroth bullshit. He will charge into you, and then as you're getting up, he'll charge into you, and as you're getting up, he'll charge into you, and by then you're dead.
Yep.
The triple charge bullshit death.
Even an experienced player can fall victim to this sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I have certainly fallen victim quite a few times, even though I'm fully aware of it.
Yep.
Which is kind of why you don't ever want him to touch you, because he flinches you or knocks you on your ass, there's a chance you might just die because Monster Hunter. But, even one death, it's not that bad, because you've got more deaths you can do.
Right.
Also, I'm trying to get used to the charge attack. I'm used to not even having this thing. And a lot of monsters, it's not really very handy to use it on, because they'll either charge past, they'll just charge past you.
Right.
I still gotta get used to it. Well, another thing that can be said about is head break. If you're not using a hammer, don't go there.
You're not gonna get it.
You'll never
You're
get
just
it.
not.
It's actually, part of his head will break off and fall on the ground, and you can carve it like the tail. So it's kind of a neat break.
It is, but again, it's pretty much impossible to get without a hammer.
And the reason why I chose Lance for this is because it'll make the tail break a lot easier for me. It's kind of hard to angle with the tail. There are weapons that are better for hitting the tail with, like the Great Sword or the Switch Axe. Switch Axe especially.
Oh, yes.
The Lance, if you know what you're doing, you can hit the tail pretty easily. Every time you're shaking mud off, you get some nice shots of the tail. If you're using a shock trap on him, oh man, you go to town with that tail. And then, well, you just gotta know what you're doing.
Right.
Practice. Basically, it just boils down to that. Oh man, charge attack. Yeah, I did the charge attack properly. You don't just charge into them infinitely. You push the button to do a charge attack.
Right. Charging into them infinitely does very little damage.
It'll do a lot of small hits. I guess it's better for if you have an elemental weapon.
Perhaps.
But, generally you'll just destroy your weapon's sharpness in like a matter of moments, and
right.
It'll be just kind of bleh. Like then you have to sharpen your weapon all the time. It's fun to do. It's fun to do your charging attacks, but generally not too useful. I will occasionally just go into just get all giddy and gleeful when I do charged attack. Just let it keep going. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna let it keep going because I like seeing all those hits.
And then suddenly your weapon turns red and you decide you should stop.
Yeah. Well, no, it'll go down to yellow sharpness and then you'll start bouncing.
Well, of course.
Yeah. So, again, not all too useful. Fun to do. Really fun to do. What else? What else? There's something I was thinking about talking to. Oh, not talking to. Yes, I'm gonna talk to someone else but you, M4.
Ah, jeez. I should have known this would happen.
Yes. I'm gonna go talk to Alpha. He's cool.
Yeah, sure.
The joke is I'm not gonna talk to him right now.
I gathered as much.
in inside jokes. No offense, Alpha. It's a bad joke. Don't take offense.
He's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. I hope. Yeah. Speaking of which, when he gets exhausted, you know those ants nests I broke open? He will actually break one of those open to eat, which is kind of why there's a subquest of it. Either he can charge into them and break them, or he can, break them open. That's kind of where he gets his food from.
But he is a lot faster when he's enraged.
Oh yeah. When he's enraged, you really want to be careful, because that's when he starts laying the smackdown, dealing damage, all that good stuff. Also, I've been getting a lot of shinies from his, mud breaks this time around, which is pretty unusual, because considering it's usually a fairly rare drop chance.
Right, the rate tends to be low just because you're breaking mud off of him a lot.
But, I can't complain. He's exhausted, I'm getting shinies, I'm getting a lot of damage in on him. Not as much as I would have if he had mud on him, but, can't complain.
Yeah, you're doing fine.
Yeah, I'd say I'm doing
It's not like you have much choice of elemental damage right now.
No. And basically, at this point of the game, this also doubles as your best raw damage weapon, too, so...
Right.
So even for things that are, like, Royal Ludrith, you'll still be using the Ludrith Lance, just because you have the most base damage.
Can't complain.
And again, as you see, if you hit his head, he will bounce. Or not he will bounce, but you will bounce like crazy. Even with sharpness. You need blue sharpness to not bounce on his head on a normal rank Barroth. Pretty nasty.
Or you can just use ESP attacks. Bring a hammer, charge it up.
Yeah. But even with hammer, he still doesn't have the resistance.
Right.
And speaking of which, you know that mud he's been shaking off? Well, that's what happens if you get hit by it. Also, you will occasionally get a water blight from it. So I'm not sure. Maybe mud also counts as water damage too.
Perhaps.
But it still does barely any damage.
Yeah, I was gonna say, damage isn't the problem from the mud.
Well, depends, because if he has a lot of mud on him, he'll be shaking a lot of mud off, and you can potentially get hit by like 3 or 4 if you get really unlucky.
Right.
But that ever really happens. I've had it happen to me a couple of times, but it's not something you should expect to happen. Oh yeah, now that I actually broke his hands, as you noticed, no mud can ever come back on his hands again. Same with the tail.
That's unusual for you, actually.
If you break his head, no mud can pop on his head either, so there's some advantage.
And to the shaking head attack where he makes mud go everywhere.
But I poked him in the butt and he died. And I'm happy.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, pretty quick fight actually for Barroth.
Not bad at all.
Yeah. I was actually
what's up?
Patting myself on the back going like, wow, this didn't take forever. Great. Because Barroth fights can take a long time just because he will not stand still. Which is why I went all out on traps too.
Rather difficult to find a good chance to hit him if you haven't fought him much before.
Yeah, this is also kind of the reason why I wanted to choose the Lance for this fight, because Lance will make this fight a lot easier because you don't have to dodge or evade, you can just stand still, tank his attack, turn around, get a couple hits in, and then block, attack, and you get some attacks in, you don't need to stay at a distance.
Right.
I was kind of hoping that I could try for some glue hoppers. There's usually some bugs in this area if you're after like the 5-minute mark has passed. But no, couldn't make it. And terrible rewards.
Indeed.
Lots of bone husks and bones and not much help.
Yeah, you've got barely anything for Barroth parts.
Yeah.
Go figure.
I keep getting dicked over by the reward box. Random number generator.
Monster Hunter.
Ah. Monster Hunter, the game that's psychic and knows exactly what you need and will never give it to you.
Oh man, the scales are the evidence of that.
Oh, yeah.
Something simple like scales, you just cannot get them.
The most common drop item, you'd think, but no. Game says no. Oh man, he's got a new idea for a mask.
Oh, this mask.
This mask. It's
Yes, this mask.
It's pretty hilarious.
It's pretty great. Not that useful, but pretty great.
It also doubles like the King Shakalaka's attacks.
Oh, indeed.
I'll get into that when I actually show off his mask. And yet a new monster, apparently. A Gobool. A Gobble,
yeah.
some people call him. Haha.
Gobble. Oh, bad jokes.
Yeah. People totally know the reason why they make that joke when we fight him.
Oh, yes.
We even in secret talked a little about him earlier. But I'll leave that up to you to remember. Or if you were paying attention. Aha! It'll be your test. No going back in videos and listening.
Pop quiz!
What were we talking about? Tell us right now. Tell me on Twitter that I don't have.
Send me an email. You don't know my email address, but do it anyway.
Yeah, do it. Do it to him. So, the Gobool is pretty much going to be our urgent quest. And I'm gonna get a nice setup for that. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun setup. And by fun, I mean you will probably love the setup.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, already there. You kind of have an idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what's good for Gobool.
Yeah. It'll be a good setup. But moving along, we have an accident investigation. It's a Gobool. It's a big thing with a mouth, apparently, according to the picture.
It's fairly accurate.
Yeah. And, as he mentions, the Chaku Baku, his gimmick is he always gets Cha-Cha's name wrong.
I think I prefer Choo-Choo.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I'm missing glue hoppers.
But you have the stuff for the meaty mask.
Yeah. It requires a double barbecue spit and Peko parts. You know, all that sort of stuff.
Oh, indeed.
But you know what? Since I have a 1-star commodity, I'm going to get my double spit right back. Because, I actually like having that thing. It's really handy. I wish I had it in multiplayer. God damn it.
Don't remind me. I just trade for cooked steaks.
We just trade for the meat. But the thing is, we can't trade for rare meat if we want to do some of the item combines.
Right, you have to make that.
But it's not hard to make either.
No,
it'd just be nice if we could just rapid fire it with the double spit.
Oh well.
Indeed. She's just gonna tell us about things we already know. But
that's pretty much her job.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I want this. I'm gonna actually show exactly what she's talking about. I can grab an item there and register it, just like I register a monster. And I can look at my hunter's pad, and then I can see, hey, I need this many Assisium. And then I can see if I own it, and then I can say, okay, I got what I need, and delete it when I'm done.
It's kind of a nice touch, even though I don't use it.
I don't use it, but it's like some people will write this down on a piece of paper. But
yeah, I do think it's kind of a nice touch, something simple that you can use.
It's handy for the people who actually write these things down on paper. That I need so many of this and so many of that.
Right.
So, you know, like, power to the people who actually use this sort of stuff, because, you know, it's a really awesome tool.
Yeah, it's a nice feature. It's just I don't use it.
Yeah.
I can know what I need. It's not that hard to look.
So, with the grill mask, I get some more slots for, you know, customizing. As you level up the masks, you will get up to 3 slots with every mask. Just some masks take a long time before they get more than 1 slot, or more than 2 slots. Just for people who are wondering that, masks have their own levels, and that requires him actually using that mask a lot. And as he uses that mask, he'll gain more proficiency with it, use the special attacks more, recharge his special ability faster, that sort of thing.
Right, but that means that the bad mask will probably never level up much.
Yeah.
There's only a couple you'll really use that often.
I'm gonna decide. You know what? I'm gonna show this right off the bat.
Demonstrate it so you can have him not use it too often.
Well, mostly just the special feature of the mask.
Exactly.
Now, the bunny mask was I could just mark a monster anywhere in the map. It was basically like using a psycho serum. Every few minutes you can do that. This one's mask. This mask here, I used the barbecue spit on it. That's what he does. He's a terrible chef. So here's the thing. Here's the kind of the gimmick behind the mask. He uses a lot of ranged attacks and will not use melee. And basically the mask here actually works just like the double barbecue spit, so I can rapid fire things on the field. I fucked up though. Burnt my meat. But when he enrages, he will actually just start spewing fireballs all around him, like I guess like a geyser of fireballs, which is also what the Shakalaka King does in Freedom Unite when he, as one of his standard attacks. I think that's kind of a cute touch, though.
Yep.
He basically turns into Shakalaka King, sort of. Only he doesn't do any damage, this Cha-Cha. And I can just set him to cook meat, which he also burns.
Okay.
Cha-Cha also warned you he's not the best cook ever. So, you got the warning. So, we'll see you next time.